Battle Through the Heavens, Chapter 235. A young alchemist with unfathomable hidden depths. The parchment's ink yields to the searing glare of the furnace, where every shallow breath must balance the crushing weight of the Ice Emperor's expectation. A sharp hiss within the cauldron breaks the rhythm, reducing rare stalks to a scatter of bitter ash. Steady fingers grip the heat, recalibrating the flame as the room stills under the scent of a failed first strike.
Perhaps because it was the first time refining the breaking evil pill, although Yao Lao's alchemy skills were extraordinary, there were still mistakes. The first refinement failed because the proportion of medicinal ingredients was slightly incorrect. However, even with the first failure, Yao Lao's expression did not change at all. In the alchemy world, failure is as common as eating or drinking. Even someone as skilled as Yao Lao cannot guarantee 100% success on the first try. Although the first attempt failed, it only resulted in the loss of some medicinal materials and did not affect the subsequent refinement. On the contrary, through this first attempt, Yao Lao gained more experience. Therefore, this time, all the procedures were carried out very smoothly and perfectly.
Inside the clean and orderly room, the black cauldron slowly rotated in midair. White flames rose violently from within. Following the rotation of the black cauldron, energy fluctuations constantly radiated into the surrounding space like ripples. These energy ripples used the black cauldron as a center and spread in all directions, but they quietly dissipated just as they were about to hit the walls. As the flames rose from the pill cauldron, a coarse, deep purple medicinal pill the size of a thumb appeared within the refining fire, slowly taking shape. A fresh medicinal fragrance suddenly spread from within the cauldron, filling the room and lingering for a long time.
Was the refinement successful?
Smelling the fragrance of the pill, Xiaoyan rubbed his somewhat tired eyes, cheered up, and asked with a smile. Having seen Yao Lao refine a Tier 5 medicinal pill once before, he knew that the fragrance would emerge before the pill was fully formed.
Yes, although the medicinal materials for the breaking evil pill are somewhat strange, the difficulty of refinement is not considered too high. Furthermore, with the assistance of the Black Demon Cauldron, the refinement time has been shortened by more than half.
Yao Lao said with a smile and a nod.
No wonder. Last time refining the Blood Lotus pill took 2 days, but this time refining a Tier 6 medicinal pill only took 1 day. It seems Master's medicinal cauldron is truly extraordinary.
Xiaoyan said with a smile, his eyes looking at the black cauldron in midair with some surprise. Normally, a medicinal cauldron has a certain degree of helpful effect for an alchemist, but it is usually not too great. A cauldron that can save 4 hours out of a day's refinement time is already a top-tier item among top-tier cauldrons. In the past, the blood-colored cauldron Xiaoyan used could only save 2 hours at most. Xiaoyan naturally felt that this black cauldron was indeed very extraordinary. Yao Lao smiled and nodded, his withered hands controlling the white flames inside the black cauldron to become even more intense.
Master, do not forget to add the extra ingredients.
Seeing the medicinal pill slowly taking shape and becoming smooth, Xiaoyan coughed and spoke up to remind him.
I know.
Giving Xiaoyan a roll of his eyes, Yao Lao nodded slightly. With a wave of his left hand, the white flame suddenly flared up and then rapidly compressed. In a short moment, the flame was compressed until it was smaller than a thumb. Upon being compressed, it transformed into the bone-chilling flame, departing from its fiery nature and turning into a small white crystal. Looking closely at the crystal, one could vaguely see a white flame rising within. Holding the white crystal on his fingertip, Yao Lao flicked his finger. The crystal suddenly turned into a ray of white light and flew into the cauldron, then directly bored into the medicinal pill that was about to form.
After the crystal entered the medicinal pill, it suddenly turned into many tiny points of white light, moving toward various parts of the pill. Seeing the small holes on the medicinal pill slowly recovering, Yao Lao nodded slightly. With a low grunt, he waved his hand again. The white flame inside the cauldron suddenly flared up powerfully for an instant, covering the purple medicinal pill and beginning the final refinement. The white flame only rose for a moment and then suddenly receded. Along with the dying flame, a medicinal pill the size of a thumb, its entire body emitting a purple glow and appearing smooth and shiny, rotated inside the medicinal cauldron.
When the purple medicinal pill appeared, a massive wave of energy erupted from within it. Although a portion had been blocked by the medicinal cauldron, it still seeped out, violently spreading in all directions, threatening to collapse the walls of the room. Calmly watching the energy outbreak, Yao Lao casually waved his withered hand. Immediately, an invisible force of spiritual power formed an energy barrier within the room in an instant. When the energy ripples came into contact with the spiritual shroud, it was like a stone being thrown into a lake, causing intense vibrations before gradually shrinking and finally dissipating. After the energy ripples vanished, Yao Lao deactivated the spiritual shroud. He reached his hand toward the black cauldron, and the purple medicinal pill flew out, landing in Yao Lao's hand. Holding the purple medicinal pill, Yao Lao only glanced at it briefly, nodded, calmly appraised the pill, and then casually handed it to Xiaoyan. Taking the pill, Xiaoyan curiously appraised this purple medicinal pill, as this was the first time he had seen a Tier 6 medicinal pill. The surface of the pill was purple, perfectly round and shiny. Furthermore, the surface seemed to vaguely have drawings, not just patterns formed during production, but patterns that formed a deliberate image, like a normal painting. Bringing the breaking evil pill closer to observe, Xiaoyan could completely feel a strange force, which was likely the factor for breaking the seal.
Inside the pill, I added the bone-chilling flame's special ice body crystal. When swallowed, it will hide within the body. Normally, there will be no abnormalities, but if I use the bone-chilling flame to trigger it, it will immediately transform into the terrifying, destructive power of the bone-chilling flame. If the opponent is unaware, I'm afraid they will suffer quite a bit of pain.
Yao Lao pulled the black cauldron back into his ring, turned toward Xiaoyan, and said with a long smile,
He won't discover it, right?
Clutching the breaking evil pill tightly, Xiaoyan asked cautiously,
Probably not, but I cannot guarantee it 100%. After all, nothing in this world is absolute, but the chance of being discovered is very small.
Yao Lao shook his head and said with a smile. Nodding, Xiaoyan took out a jade bottle of extraordinary quality from his storage ring and carefully placed the breaking evil pill inside. Then he glanced at the table, where a pile of medicinal materials lay. His mouth twitched, and he unceremoniously collected all the materials into his ring.
Consider this as additional payment for the refinement.
These kinds of high-level medicinal materials would fetch over 1 million if taken to an auction. Xiaoyan had absolutely no intention of leaving them for Hai Bei Dong.
Finally finished.
After putting everything into his ring, Xiaoyan patted it with satisfaction. He turned toward Yao Lao and said with a laugh,
Now let's go out and see if that guy keeps his promise.
I hope he does not disappoint us.
Yao Lao smiled faintly, his figure transforming into a ray of light and entering the black ring. Xiaoyan put the black ring on his finger, stored the jade bottle containing the breaking evil pill, straightened his clothes, and walked out of the room. The light in the hallway was somewhat dim. Hai Ba Dong stood by the wall. His aged face looked calm, but his fingers were constantly tapping against the wall, showing that he was very nervous internally. Feeling the time slowly pass, Hai Ba Dong turned his head to glance at the tightly closed door at the end of the hallway. He could not help but frown, and a moment later, he sighed softly. The materials for refining the breaking evil pill were not easy to find. He had spent several years collecting them. If Xiaoyan failed the refinement, he feared his wish to recover his strength would vanish.
Suddenly, Hai Ba Dong's hand went still, and his face grew solemn, radiating worry. He muttered in a low voice.
Could it have failed? Sigh. It seems I was a bit reckless. Although that guy's strength is somewhat unfathomable to me, he is still young after all. Even if he started practicing alchemy from the womb, it has only been a little over 10 years. How much talent can he have? And how much refinement skill could he have at his age?
His fist clenched tightly. Hai Ba Dong's expression changed drastically. After a while, he shook his head with a bitter smile and said,
At this point, I can only hope that guy brings a miracle. After all, he possesses an extremely terrifying heavenly flame.
As time ticked by, the atmosphere in the hallway also grew increasingly tense. The fingers on the wall increased their tapping rhythm. Dochi on his fingertip poked out violently, creating a hole, demonstrating his nervousness.
I'll go see.
Hai Ba Dong's withered face contorted. Unable to endure this kind of waiting any longer, he turned forcefully, took a breath, and intended to walk down the hall. Just as Hai Ba Dong turned around, his body suddenly stiffened with shock. His eyes stared down the hallway, and then he leaned back against the wall with a long smile. He had seen the black-robed youth. Swallowing hard, he hurried forward and said,
Little brother, was it successful?
Xiaoyan watched Hai Ba Dong's hurried appearance, walked over slowly, and raised his hand, offering a jade bottle to Hai Ba Dong.
Relatively. It seems there was some luck, so I barely succeeded.
Looking at the jade bottle, Hai Ba Dong's limbs almost went stiff. He took it with difficulty, carefully cradling it with both hands. His eyes welled up with a frantic excitement when he saw the purple medicinal pill inside the bottle. He was wild with joy, which was obvious because he now had the breaking evil pill in his hands. Yet it was still a bit hard to believe. In just one day, a person less than 20 years old could refine a Tier 6 medicinal pill. Even Pill King Jiyuhi would find it difficult to refine it so perfectly.
Hidden depths, truly concealed.
In Hai Ba Dong's heart at this moment, there was only one phrase to evaluate Xiaoyan.